What's up, my motorcycle homies? I have a treat for you. This year, well, every year, I take a 10-day motorcycle trip. But this year was different. This year, unfortunately, Ty couldn't come along. So, Caitlin and I planned a trip, and instead of traveling to a bunch of states, we decided to go to one state and spend 10 days there. The plan was, we were going to leave my home near Dallas. We were going to head up to Colorado, do a big circle around the whole state, and then head back down through New Mexico. Along the way, we stopped at numerous sites, and I'll explain them throughout this video. The takeaway here is there's a lot of beautiful things to see in Colorado. Did you know that there's snow in June? I gotta say, this is the first time I've ever actually hit hail at highway speeds. It's funny, whenever we go on these trips, I always have all this serious doubt that this stuff is not gonna fit on the bike. In this case, I filled up an entire wagon, and all of that has to fit on the bike this morning. So here we go. All hope is not lost. It's coming along. It's coming along. The wagon's unloaded and almost everything's packed. So this trip might actually take place. Some people get upset when it rains when they're trying to leave for a motorcycle trip. I like to think it's Texas wishing us a farewell. When we left Frisco, it was raining and it was cold. At one point, Caitlin was shivering. And now it's 104, and we are so hot. And she's turning red.
I have sunscreen on.
She's already sunburned, it's too late.
I had it on before we got back on the road.
One of our bolts from the saddlebag support fell out. So we stopped at a hardware store to pick up another one. And when I stopped, I made a rookie mistake and I grabbed my front brake while I was turning, which 100% makes the bike fall over. So that may or may not have happened. But Caitlin and I have been doing squats at the gym. With the help of Caitlin's badonkadonk, we got the bike back up. Are you hungry?
Yes.
Camping trip is not complete without chili and Fritos and chili and Fritos. Captain's log. All right, we did our first stop at Amarillo KOA. Last night we arrived and we camped in our campsite, which is all condensed together, and there are 2 tables in one location and 1 table in another. It doesn't make any sense. Apparently we got snitched out for using the wrong table. We're basically felons at this point. I don't know if Caitlin can own a firearm anymore.
Or you.
I don't know if Caitlin can own a firearm. Anyways, we got snitched out and we had to move to a different table, even though the tables are 20 feet apart and nobody's using the other campsite. But it's okay. We're done packing and we're about to move to our next campground. We're excited. We slept pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm. Apparently I kicked you off the bed.
Yeah, I got rammed by a badonkadonk. Until next time. Sleeping out under the open stars in our cloth tent. We got on the highway, not even an exit down. There was a state prison with the signs, don't pick up hitchhikers, they may be escaping inmates. You feel a little more vulnerable finding out you were camping right next door the night before. It seems like something that should be on the website, right? Our first stop was Colorado Springs KOA. They have a full water park for kids. It's a great place to stay if you're looking for somewhere to stay. We spent one night there tent camping. The next morning we hit the road and we went to the Garden of the Gods. We're at the Garden of the Gods in Colorado. And people make a big deal about this place because these mountains are supposedly so big, but they're not. Look at this. See, they're just like big 6 inches. A big 6. It doesn't cost anything to get in. You're surrounded by towering red rock formations, winding roads, and beautiful scenery. It was a really neat experience. From there, we went over to Pikes Peak, which is a really tall mountain. It takes about 45 minutes to get to the top. It's all winding roads. I think it was about $17 a person to get in. There were 2 of us on a motorcycle. Fair warning, if you're on a motorcycle, we had to stop halfway through to start putting on cold weather gear, which I didn't expect to do in the middle of June. And we rode up this windy road for about 45 minutes, heading to the top of this mountain. When we got near the top of this mountain, a car stopped. 2 of the 4 occupants got out and jumped off the cliff. I didn't know what they were doing, but upon further inspection, they were skiing or snowboarding down. I don't know if that's legal, I don't know if that's normal, but it was pretty awesome to see. So we finally make it to the top, and at the top of this mountain is snow everywhere, and it's cold. When we started on the ground level, it was probably 75 degrees. But when we got to the top, it was 52 degrees. I took that time to throw a few snowballs at Caitlin. The next stop is Denver. You can't go to Colorado without going to Denver. I wasn't there to sightsee per se, but we did stay in a hostel, and it was a really neat experience. There were a lot of different foreign travelers. Obviously, it was cheaper than a regular hotel. We had a private room and a private bathroom, but it was just a really neat experience. That night, while we were at the hostel, we went to a comedy show to see Bill Burr perform. And afterwards, when we left, there were a ton of bicycle chariots waiting to take people places. So we paid the guy to take us back to our hostel, and it was the coolest, scariest experience of my life. He was going the wrong way towards oncoming traffic, going when the light was red. There were cars going one way and the other, and we were holding on for dear life, but it was a great experience and it was a lot of fun. Now, back to the motorcycle trip. When we left Denver, we headed towards Rifle Parachute area. My favorite stretch of Colorado took place between Rifle and Ouray. The highway followed a river, and it was the most scenic road I have ridden. It was between 2 mountains and a river on one side, and you're just going between carving for 30-45 minutes. It was so awesome. something funny happened in our transition between Rifle and Ouray. We were riding and I saw what I thought was a motorcycle approaching. So I did the standard 2-finger wave. When it got closer, I realized it was one of the Can-Am vehicles. My bad, I didn't mean to wave at them. The worst part was, he didn't wave back. Now, we stayed 2 nights at Ouray KOA. This is our home for the next 2 days. That's Caitlin. Time to set up our tents. This was just outside the town of Ouray, and it was a really cool little town. There were fake police cars with nobody in them, I guess to slow traffic down for the main stretch of the road. It was kind of a funny thing, and I pulled over just to verify my suspicion, and the car was empty. Outside the town of Ouray, before you begin the $1 Million Highway, there's a waterfall that you can visit. It's really cool. We went to the top of it, and then we went to the bottom of it. We explored all around it. It was our first time seeing chipmunks in the wild. That was a neat experience. From there, we got on the $1 Million Highway and we headed south towards Silverton. We just visited a marijuana shop and we heard a train, and we're in a scary train. So the $1 Million Highway ends when you're going south at a town called Silverton, and it's like an old west town. Only one of the streets is paved and all the rest are dirt, and they have a main strip. Like, you could totally be in an old west movie with like riding a horse, and there's the jail and stuff. But the cool thing is they have the highest Harley Davidson, I guess by altitude or whatever. So we're about to walk in there right now. But this is the strip. It's just like a one-town strip. The highest Harley Davidson dealership. It even says it right there. World's highest Harley store. We stopped in there and pet the little dog. There's just a lot to see, and it was a really beautiful scenery. The whole reason to go to Colorado was to capture the $1 Million Highway. Unfortunately, my drone stopped working when I hit the $1 Million Highway, but it was a neat experience, winding through the mountain, no guardrail on one side, and just a drop off. But there were several waterfalls we passed by, and it was a neat experience. We stayed in a hotel in Aztec, New Mexico, and we're on our way to Santa Rosa, New Mexico. We're eating at a Fuddruckers for hamburgers. And there's a pirate. Naturally, you do a dance off. All in all, we spent about 9-10 days traveling around. We tried to keep the days short, 3 to 4 hour rides, because realistically with stops, it's 5-6 hours. Colorado's beautiful, and it's definitely worth riding.